Is that going? Oh. Well, hello, everybody. Christy and I decided to do a little chat here this afternoon as Disney Cruise Line just released their early 2022 sailings, Christy.
Yes, woohoo!
Pretty exciting, huh? The mouse was busy last night, wasn't he? Or
she? Their IT must be going nuts because they released fall of 2021 for Walt Disney World as well. So they might as well just open up Disneyland today, because what else would be left?
Oh, exactly. So, and we just did a podcast last night that we added up, just kind of a quick thing talking about the Cruise with Confidence program that they're running. And we speculated last night that they could possibly be coming out today. And here we are. So waking up, taking a look at it initially, Christy, any initial thoughts for the early 2022 release?
I mean, initial thoughts were nothing is jumping out as super duper exciting, but general basic. I mean, it's good, solid cruises.
I was excited to see that they added Hawaii back on, because I know, yes, Zach, from a good listener from the podcast, he and his wife were scheduled to go to Hawaii and they missed out. So I was super happy to see that they put that on. So anybody out there that was originally scheduled or can fit it in this year or in 2022, they'll be able to go back.
Yeah, so that's exciting. It's always exciting when there's a new destination, for sure.
Yeah, and we'll see what the prices are like. But in all honesty, I looked at those prices on the Hawaii trip, and it really wasn't that bad. I mean, I know Disney's generally expensive. Let's be honest. But for Disney prices, it wasn't like those 8 or 9 night Southern Caribbeans on the Fantasy in the summer. It was nothing like that.
You have to sell your house to go on it, but you'll have a great week-long cruise.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's just, before we talk about the cruises themselves, let's talk about when people can book.
Okay.
So looking at it, bookings are going to start for Platinum members next Monday. Yes. And kind of remind everybody when you can get on, because you can book online, or you can call in, or you can use your travel agent, right?
Yeah. So online will start when it starts. So it could be 6 a.m. Eastern time. It could be 7 a.m. Eastern time. It just sort of starts when it starts. If you have a placeholder, you have to call in to book it.
Right. So you can't do that online?
You cannot.
Okay.
You can't modify those.
But you can give that placeholder to your travel agent, right? And he or she can do that?
Yes. She can call in.
Okay, perfect. So October 19th is for Platinum members. And then as
8 a.m. is the phone lines, by the way.
8 a.m. Eastern, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which is it's tough for us West Coast people. You got to get up early.
You don't have to get up early. Have a travel agent call for you. Let them get up early. And they email you what you've booked once you've risen.
So what you're saying is, if I use my travel agent, I can just sleep in, get up, get my cup of coffee, and look for my email that says, wow, congratulations, you've been booked on this cruise.
Yep.
I love it.
I have clients that give me parameters and say, up to this amount of money, book it. Okay.
I love it. Okay, so Monday is Platinum members, and Tuesday's going to be Platinum and Gold, and
you don't have to say the thing that's already existed.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And then what that can already book can book from that day forward. So Monday Platinum, Tuesday Gold,
and
Wednesday.
Go ahead.
Wednesday is Silver and DVC and previous Adventures by Disney. So if you have a Adventures by Disney number, you can book early.
Perfect. And then everybody who has not sailed can book on
October 22nd, which is, I don't have it in front of me now.
It's
is that Thursday? I'm like, we should know because we talked about the dates leading up to it, but there's a lot happening in my brain right now, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess we left out the Golden Oak folks. I know we have a lot of Golden Oak listeners, so they can book when Platinum members can book.
Can I just say, if we have any Golden Oak members, can you please reach out? And I would like to personally be your friend. But besides that, I do want to pick your brain on some stuff. So please reach out to us.
Yeah, that would be awesome to live in Golden Oak, I think. So, all right. Well, let's talk about the actual, ships themselves, where they're sailing from. We're not going to go through each one of the itineraries or anything like that, but for the most part, yeah. But for the most part, it seems like kind of the same as the usual suspects, right?
Right.
All right. So let's start with let's just start from the beginning, the Disney Magic. So this is when the Magic is probably the least adventurous for her, is during these sailings. And most of her sailings, and matter of fact, all of her sailings are going to be going out of Miami, right?
Yes.
And she'll do kind of a back and forth between the Eastern and Western Caribbean cruises.
Yeah, it looks like she has a couple of 3 nights potentially as well, right?
Yeah, she does. So
and that might be a little bit unusual because it usually hangs around the 4 and the 5 night options. But I do see some smaller options as well.
I'm going to go way off subject here, but there's the train. I think it was called the Bright Line. Is that what it is in Florida? But Virgin, like Virgin America, the airline, or the Virgin Group, was originally going to be part of that train, and they were going to slap their name on it, Richard Branson and all his money. But that has since changed. He's walked away from it with everything going on. But I always thought that I was kind of hoping that would get going, and because it was going to be an easy way if you wanted to spend time at Walt Disney World to be able to get on that train and whisk you down to Miami if you wanted to sail on the Magic.
That would be awesome. So
Yeah.
we need that to be going and have more information about it.
So if anybody does that, or if anybody tries that in the future, I know they've used it a couple times. Some other cruise lines people have talked about it, but if any of our listeners out there do that, we'd love to hear what your experience is on that.
Yes, please. We like to hear about new things.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, we've got some comments. Amber says, your hair looks cute, Christy.
Thanks. It looks like this once every 6 weeks when it gets haircut day.
And she says, you too, Steve. Well, thanks, Amber. I really appreciate that. Yeah,
I love Amber.
With my buzz cut. So then Benita asks, no Southern Caribbean again. Anyone know why?
I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
They do it very infrequently, so it's more of a random thing.
It seems like the Magic sometimes will do it when it comes down from New York. If she stops into Puerto Rico and does like one sailing out of Puerto Rico, well, she'll do a southern one, and that's generally in the fall. So the springtime, I'm not sure why. I would look for maybe one in the summer. Maybe the Fantasy will head back down there again. Yeah. So watch for that one, I guess. And then let's see. Heather says, I've missed you guys. We missed you too, Heather. Thank you. So, well, let's jump into it, I guess. So the Magic, mostly out of Miami, little Eastern Westerns and a 3-night. And then the Wonder is the one that kind of has this is like where her moment to shine. She's like all over the place.
Man, I would like to get on one of these. So the Wonder is doing Galveston. She is doing New Orleans again. And then she has some California cruises too.
And the Panama Canal this year is March 4th. I'm not sure how does that compare? I think that's where it has been the last couple of years. How was that compared to you, Christy, when you guys went?
We went, I don't even remember when. Okay. No, we went in April.
Yeah, it seems like it's pushed back a little bit sooner than what it used to be.
That's kind of a really good date. Do we have a little doggy friend joining us in our podcast?
No, I've got my son, and we've got the cleaners here, so if it gets a little banging here, that's why. What's going on?
My Chromebook.
Your Chromebook, yes. Sorry.
This is what happens, folks, when we're going live.
Yeah.
So,
welcome.
Podcasting in
online school.
Yeah, welcome to online virtual school. So
I get it. We played that game earlier.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the Wonder. You said Galveston, New Orleans sailings, and the Panama Canal.
Yeah, let's just sit at that Panama Canal cruise for a minute. So 3-4 for 15, leaves March 4th for 15 nights. I might have to look at it. It like coincides a little bit that year with some spring breakage for us. It's probably can't happen, but I'm a little tempted.
So stay tuned, huh?
Stay tuned.
Chris...
who needs to retire?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like if your son's, we talked about that last night of the podcast. As he's getting older, it gets harder to take him out. If he's only going to miss like a couple of days, this might be the one to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he'd miss a week, but it's not 2 weeks.
Well, that's true. And you know what? Think about
Go on.
I was just going to say, think about like all that he's going to learn going through all these different countries and everything.
Exactly.
Else. Yeah. And I think that good listener to the show, Sarah, could probably put together some. She's a teacher. She could probably put together some lesson plans on how the Panama Canal works, and he could investigate that as you guys go through there.
We will do lots of educating.
So she leaves March 4th from the East Coast through the Panama Canal, ends up in San Diego, does a bunch of different Baja cruises. She doesn't make it. Yeah. Nothing really different other than she just goes to Ensenada and Cabo are the only two ports. And there is one where she stops at Catalina Island.
Yeah.
But
and then she goes north-ish.
Yes, north-ish. Then she does her Pacific cruise, which I would love to do this, but it just doesn't quite fit. We had it booked once. By the way, Sarah says she's coming along with you as a tutor. So there you go. Blake's got a tutor.
You have to pay your own way, but if you'd like to come along, I will buy you a drink, and you can feel free to please tutor my son.
One drink. That's it, Sarah. One drink. That's all you're getting out of Christy. So. Chad Petticoat says, "Hey, it's some of my favorite cruisers." Hey, Chad, we are going to get you on a cruise one of these days. So,
and Nathan, did you miss Nathan's comment earlier? I think when the book stuff was happening behind you, he said that he likes your old ship painting and that noticed the Mickey hat behind you.
Yeah, that's a Mickey hat. That's actually a captain's hat, which is pretty cool. So,
like a legit captain.
I will tell you the story behind that at some point. So,
okay.
Okay. So anyways, where are we going with this? Christy says, has she ever stopped at Catalina before? She was supposed to this year, but beyond that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Why does your brain even know that? I'm impressed.
I just remembered that she hadn't done it in a while and she was going to do it this year. And unfortunately, she hung out in San Diego, but nobody got on. And then she left and now she's in France on her way to England. So, okay, let's keep going. All right. Here she goes up the Pacific coast, stops in San Francisco for the day, which I think would be amazing, gets up to Vancouver. And then that's when she goes back and forth to Hawaii. So Christy, how would you like to take the Disney Wonder to Hawaii, get off and spend your time in Aulani and then fly back?
That sounds like a perfect vacation.
It sounds like one of those bucket list vacations, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So she goes back and forth to Hawaii. So it's not one sailing, it's one sailing each way. So most people are going to get off unless you do the back-to-back in Honolulu. And then she's going to come back to Vancouver, where we would presume that she would start her Alaska sailings.
Yes. Everybody needs Alaska to happen next summer.
Right.
Chad, in that summer in 2022.
Chad says, sign me up. I know he's itching to get out to Aulani. He's got that trip planned and I hope he gets out there soon. So, but what a bucket list cruise to do that. All right. Anything else about the Wonder we can think of?
No.
All right. Let's move on to your ship, Christy.
The Fantasy?
The Dream.
I mean, the Fantasy is really my ship, let's be honest. But I like the Fantasy or the Dream because you can occasionally get those double dips, of which there is one. I'm very excited about that.
Do you have the date? I didn't write it down.
It's March 7th.
Okay, March 7th. Go ahead.
Let me just say, out of Port Canaveral, no stops to Nassau. A person, if they didn't have school the next week, could take that trip, and they'd miss a week of school. Or they could just go on the Panama Canal cruise, and they'd miss the same amount of school. 4 days versus 15.
Oh,
Can you see what I'm going to be asking for prices about on Monday morning? Can you see?
I think you and Dave are going to have some serious conversations this weekend, don't you?
All I have to say is thank God for Disney Visa's 6 months same as cash option. I could put something on there and I could think about it and deal with it later.
Oh, that is true. Well, the Dream kind of does the same thing, kind of her normal 3 and 4 day cruises, but she does have a bunch of, and this is the one I would want to go on. Leaves Port Canaveral, Castaway Cay, your second day, a day at sea, then back. So that is like my bucket list cruise.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I would like to do that 3 day versus that stop in Nassau. Nothing against Nassau for all of those who love it. So, but kind of the same thing with the Dream. And then let's move on to the Fantasy, I guess. I guess we'll finish up with Fantasy. Anything stick out with you there, Christy?
I mean, she's got 1 6 night right at the beginning of the year. So her beginning cruise basically right after New Year's, but then it looks like alternating 7 nights. You said there. Oh, go on.
No, go ahead.
There are some alternate itineraries where she'll stop in San Juan, for example, instead of St. Thomas or Tortola.
Yeah,
Um,
it looks like she stays in St. Thomas generally, but they add St. Martin and Puerto Rico on a couple different sailings.
Yeah, and St. Martin hasn't been around for a while nope, she goes to Tortola as well in the beginning. She's got several cruises of Tortola and St. Thomas. So, depending on which Caribbean island you would like to go to, Eastern Caribbean island, you have options. The thing I like about St. Martin is there's that big like public beach area, like that 5-minute taxi, water taxi thing away. So you have a ton of options if you really want a beach day, like right there that you can easily get back to the ship for food and stuff like that.
I love that. How many times have you been there? I've never been there, so.
I don't know, but enough.
Enough.
I don't remember. I've been cruising since I was 7.
This is true.
And we cruise the Caribbean because in Michigan we're cold, so we have to leave the cold.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah,
I feel like our family is becoming the West Coast expert. So we've got 2 more booked out of San Diego. So
somebody has to be.
Somebody's got to sail out of San Diego, I guess. So, well, there you go. We didn't go through all the different itineraries. A lot of different options out there. Some, kind of similar, kind of the normal. It's not like summer where you get the big wows. Like, where are they going to go next?
Steve, did you not ask Chris to come on this with us? Because he just commented, I see you're live without Chris. Chris, we thought you were busy. I was getting a haircut. See all this, clearly. I was not a part of setting this up.
Oh man, I am in trouble, aren't I?
You just got busted.
I was thinking he was busy all day because we're doing a podcast later tonight. So, oh my gosh. All right, how not to be the head of a podcast?
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just cannot because Chris gives us stuff.
And all right, so there you go. So now you're seeing like behind the scenes while we're live. All right, before we get out of here, I guess let's talk about the best way to, or how you can book with you, Christy. If people don't have a travel agent and would like to use a travel agent, would like to use you, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can find me at Christy at Pack Your Pixie Dust. My email address is typically in the show notes of all of our shows. Obviously, you can just type in Christy, Christy, at Pack Your Pixie Dust, and then all over the web at Pack Your Pixie Dust. So either packyourpixiedust.com or on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and I can help you. No Perfect. Cost to you, by the way. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No. And I was going to say, since, this, I'm not going to say that because I'll get myself in trouble, but the Disney's 50th Walt Disney World dates released today as well for the entire year. So anything stand out there that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, so you can book now for fall 2022 at Walt Disney World, and they're doing reservations, the park reservation system. So if you want to be there on October 1st, make a reservation. I'm available. I can set something up for you if you don't already have a travel agent. One thing to note too, that Steve and I haven't talked about very much, but the DCL podcast is now, or Just Cruises and Vacations, which is the travel agency that I'm parked out of, is a sponsor now of the DCL podcast. And DCL podcast can make a commission as well every time I book somebody on a trip. So that mentions the podcast. So if you are a listener and you want to help support the podcast, if you are booking a trip and aren't already using a travel agent, you can book with me, and then we can pay the podcast some money, which is great because it helps support some of the costs.
Definitely. So we appreciate all of our listeners out there, coming back and taking a listen with us. And before it gets really loud here, because I hear the vacuum coming my way, we're going to get out of here today. Good luck, everybody, booking that cruise next week.
Yes. Keep us posted. Tell us what you're booking.
Yeah, definitely let us know what you guys booked. And you know what? One other thing, I'm going to put it up on Facebook. I put it out on Twitter. Total random question here. We've got our next podcast coming out, has to do with Grand Slams. And we came up with a question. What's the last ship everybody went on? And I'm totally curious to find out which ship generally gets hit last. Does that make sense?
What kind of results are you getting so far?
I haven't looked at it since I put it up on Twitter. It seems like the Dream or the Fantasy were up there. It wasn't the Magic and the Wonder yet. Yeah. So I'm totally curious. I will put it on Facebook as well. Look for that poll. Please answer it if you can, because I just want to see. We're totally curious as to what ship generally is the last ship people sail on.
All right. Yeah. No, it's a great question.
So, all right. Good luck, everybody. Book at those cruises. Once again, you can reach out to Christy if you need to use a travel agent and don't have one. And we will see you soon on the DCL podcast. Thanks for coming back.
Bye.